The rise of social media was not only a revolution in how people communicate, but also an evolution in the execution of marketing and sales. Commercial brands soon saw the benefit of association with certain individuals with large followings on social media platforms. Influencers have proven to have an impact on a partner brand's visibility, but some have bemoaned that their contribution is being trivialised and exploited. Content Strategy Director at Dentsu Creative, Odendall, is one of the people calling for compensation practices relating to influencers be overhauled, and she joins us now via our video link. Emma, thank you so much for your time this evening. Now, of course, when you look at influencers, one would say that it's an ever-evolving space, and often things change so much, but influencers play a very crucial role in that department. Why are influencers not being compensated fairly?
Well, I think the first thing that's important to note is that the creator economy in South Africa is exploding. By 2029, we expect it to be worth $44 million US. So this growth really provides massive opportunity for digitally savvy entrepreneurs and young South Africans to earn an income through their content creation. But we're finding that in particular, what we call nano influencers, and those are influencers that have less than 15,000 followers, are becoming frustrated by the lack of fair compensation and the pressure to accept product in exchange for their work. And make no mistake, this is work. Often just 15 seconds of a video clip takes significant time, effort to create, polish and negotiate to bring a brand idea to life. So we really feel that brands and agencies have to confront this head on.
And Emma, when it comes to, the role that influencers play, I mean, I've spoken to a number of them, and often they would tell you that they're often given freebies, or they're even told that, we're giving you exposure. But one would say exposure and freebies don't necessarily pay someone's bills, especially if you've quit your job to be a full-time influencer.
Absolutely right. So many of these influencers are drawing a comparison in that you wouldn't pay your plumber or your doctor with products. So why is it acceptable for us to pay influencers in that way? So stories really abound with brands and agencies and tech platforms adopting this payment model in product when it comes to influencers. But when you get a box of toothpaste or even a weekend away, that doesn't cover school fees or rent. We're also finding that infringement on copyright and usage is becoming increasingly common, and we're seeing influencers' content going onto billboards and they're not being compensated appropriately.
Do you think perhaps influencers are often taken advantage of because it's really a new era or a new space, and advertisers really don't know how to deal with it?
Absolutely. It's a very new space. It's continually evolving. And when you consider as well that influencers as an industry is not yet well regulated in South Africa, they're typically regarded as independent contractors and so are not covered by, for example, employment legislation. They are far more vulnerable to exploitation.
And maybe when it comes to, what can be done to give influencers the necessary respect for their craft. I mean, you spoke a bit earlier on, if a brand asks you to compile something, it's a lot of work and, a lot of creativity being put behind that. What needs to be done for influencers to be given the necessary respect because of the important role that they play in society?
Well, for a start, let's pay them fairly. Pay them a market-related fee for their services and not product in kind. Now, this is really ultimately going to benefit the creators, but also the brands with which they work. So our approach really at Dentsu is this mutually beneficial partnership that provides very clear terms of agreement, accountability, and ultimately repercussions as well for the influencers should they not deliver for any particular reason. The second thing that we feel is very important as Dentsu is skills development. We're investing heavily into what we've called the Dentsu School of Influence, which we launched in February this year, a program for aspiring creators, equipping them with the skills, training and tools that they need to succeed, not just in creating beautiful content, but also in navigating conversations around their contracts, the rates the brands are going to pay. So providing them with the tools to demand appropriate compensation.
And what has been the response from influencers, from taking advantage of some of the skills and the opportunities that you are giving them?
Yeah, so far outstanding. We've had a fabulous response of influencers from around the country who have come to Cape Town to spend 8 months with us, learning, growing alongside our industry experts. And we've had great response from the industry as well, with some very large media partners coming along on the journey with us in supporting these creators.
And perhaps, before we let you go, what would be your advice to influencers who are battling to get brands to actually pay them for the work that they do?
Yeah, I think understand and own your value. Consider that 54% of consumers in this country have purchased a product after seeing an influencer post. 78% of them trust influencers. You hold incredible power, and it's time that you really started to own that.
All right, Emma, thank you so much for your time this evening. That is Emma Odendall. She's the Content Strategy Director at Dentsu Creative, talking to us there about influencers and the role that they play, and of course the exploitation by some brands when it comes to compensating influencers.